Welcome everyone to another video of World of Warship Legends, and today we're talking carriers, specifically the new German Tier 7 August von Parseval. I had a video on this thing ready last week, but Wargaming announced the balance changes to the ship, so I held off, wanted to get a couple games in, see how it performed, and this is going to be looking at the stats of the ship after the balance, and then looking at and comparing those stats with the Japanese and American carriers at Tier 7, which are already in the game. Spoiler, I think the German, even after the balance changes, is still by far the best carrier to go with. In the background, we have a game of Capture the Base on Land of Fire. And jumping in right to the commander build. Hans Geisler is the German CV commander. Base trait of Barrage speeds up the reload time of your secondaries. I might look at him later. It might be an interesting secondary build with a Bismarck, using him as inspiration down the road. Slot 1, no fly zone, just increases the damage and range of your AA. Slot 2, Dark Silhouette, reduces the detectability of your carrier. Slot 3, Hidden Threat, reduces the detectability of your torpedo bombers as well as making them just a little bit stronger. Slot 4, Look at Me Now, reducing the detectability of any ship. And then Legendary, I went with fully packed. That way I get one more of those engine cooldowns, one more radio info for the fighters. Overall, that's honestly the way to go. You'll look in this game, I'm not using fully packed in the game that we're watching here. It's a change I made afterwards. But I think Corkscrew can be passed up because the penetration on the AP bombs is already pretty fantastic. As for the actual ship stats, 51,400 hit points. Secondaries have a range of 4.5 kilometers. The AA has a defense rating of 99. Ship has a top speed of 31.8 knots. Rudder shift of 13 seconds. And then the key, the sea detection is 7.6 kilometers. And the air detection, 7.9 kilometers. Both of those are really key stats. Now on my build, I am using inspirations of Swirsky and Ernest King. And I think those are real key to getting the most out of this ship. So let's look at the actual bombers. So starting with the dive bombers, I'm going to show German, Japanese, and the US side by side here just to get an idea of what we're looking at. I'm not going to talk about the Japanese and US at this point. Just going to cover, but you can look at them visually just to see what the actual comparison looks like. So German AP bombers have 4,178 hit points. Extremely strong planes. Max speed, by far the strongest, 189 knots. Restoration time, 65 seconds. And then the max bomb damage, 7,600. Now this was brought down last week by Wargaming. It was very much a needed balance change. So I do appreciate Wargaming doing that. And honestly, it doesn't hurt the ships. These are still extremely powerful ships that you can pretty close to carry a game with. Torpedo bombers, 3,276 hit points, 189 knots max speed, 68 second restoration time, and 6,100 maximum damage on the torpedoes. Now they are fast torpedoes in the water, but they have short range, 3 kilometers. So that is something to remember if you are using them. Now, we wanted to compare this against the other nations at the tier, and the Germans have a clear advantage in the flight time. So 189 knots for both types of planes. They are extremely fast in the air. They're going to get to the target faster. They're going to be in AA range at a less amount of time if you're able to time the speed to be at maxed right as you're attacking. They're just too strong to be considered second rate. You know, the USN has and the Japanese both have stronger, higher max damage levels, but the Citadel chances are what really set the German planes apart, and they're just absolutely phenomenal and devastating if you're going up against them. Now, taking a look at this game, you see we've been working mostly on the western flank, clearing that out. I had sat back for a while just because of that, and now that we've cleared that flank, I went ahead and I'm starting to push ahead with my planes. Almost every time when I'm going out with planes, I'm going to pre-drop. The only time I won't is if I have the evasive maneuvers consumable ready to go, which is a new consumable at tier 7 with this update. And basically it means that your planes will take 0 damage for 6 seconds. Absolutely ridiculously overpowered consumable. Use it. That is why fully packed is key, because you get an extra one of those per plane type each game. So go ahead, use fully packed, get more of those evasive maneuvers, make your planes that much stronger. Another thing, using the air patrol fighters, you need to be using those early and often. They have a short reload time, they have the ability to spot, they have the ability really to shoot down enemy CV planes. I think it is one of the most underrated perks of the CVs when you can take out half or even a full attack squadron of the enemy carriers' planes just by using that patrol fighter. Let's dig into the game now. Blue team is down to 4 ships. Red team has 5 along with a destroyer. We just had the destroyer spotted a second ago. And all 4 of the non-carrier enemy planes are grouped together. Honestly, that's not a terrible tactic. Their AA is going to work together and knock me out. Hopefully at this point, though, those ships have taken some damage. HE is going to knock out those AA guns. So remember that when you're going up against your enemy. But right there, I want to go ahead, pre-drop my bombers, get guaranteed 3 of them going back to the carrier. I want to make sure I have planes all the way through the end of this game. So Georgia, Fletcher, Cleveland, and I believe the Shores was the last ship. 3 out of 4 of those have fantastic AA ratings. They're going to be difficult to go up against. That's the reason I went ahead, pre-dropped the planes. That way I can just go in, attack with the full 3, immediately head back to the carrier and launch some more. Right here, Georgia doing their best to try to evade, but the AP bombs absolutely devastating. All 3 connecting right there. So if you're doing the math, 7,600 per. That's over 20,000 in damage I did to the Georgia right there, just with half of an attack squadron. That's why these things are extremely strong. Right now, my number 1 priority needs to be getting rid of that destroyer. We do see the smoke over there on the far south side, so there's a chance they might still be sitting in the smoke. So if I can't spot them, I want to get rid of what enemy ships that I can. You see the Kutuzov absolutely tearing up the shores. I'm not even going to worry about taking a run on the shores here because the Kutuzov just absolutely tore them up. So now I'm going to go ahead, try to get some shots on this Cleveland. I use the evasive maneuvers because you see all that AA there. I want to try to at least eliminate it. Not the best bombing run. I do overpin one of the bombs, but unfortunately overpins don't do a lot. Need to remember when you're going up against cruisers, drop the bombs a little bit lower than you normally would. So I tried to get one of the bombs there to hit the Fletcher. I don't particularly like using the AP bombs against destroyers. They're not nearly effective. It's almost a waste of ordnance. And with an AA rating like the Fletcher has, it can absolutely devastate the planes if you hover over them too long. So that was just simply a why not, I'm here. I have half of an attack squadron, but not a practice that I would normally say to use regularly. But here you can see Georgia completely broadside. I have the torpedo bombers. This is a perfect lineup. With the torpedo bombers, you want to be as close to perpendicular to the ship track as possible. You see Georgia's almost at a near stop. Very easy target. I'm actually hoping here maybe I can get a double strike with the Fletcher, but fortunately I have the teammates are on the ball. They knock out the Fletcher, and now all we have to do is chase down this carrier. Now looking at the stats here, 14 torpedo hits, 5 citadels, 7 planes shot down, 1 air-to-air shoot down, and almost 100,000 in damage. This is extremely powerful. Oh, also, yeah, I forgot to mention the spotting ribbon. 8 spotting ribbon. That was something new this update. Now, since the only target is going to be the CV. The CVs have phenomenal AA ratings. Even with an evasive maneuver consumable, I don't think it's worth it to take all 6 fighters into the AA range of those ships. I think you're going to end up losing a lot more planes than it's worth. You see, I still have 12 torpedo bombers and 9 AP bombers, or now 12 AP bombers. So that's exactly what I'm looking to do. I just want to make sure I have the ability to spot and do damage all the way through the match. That way I don't get stuck at the end with no planes. Here, going up against the carrier, biggest target in the game, and right there, 2 more citadels. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, these planes are overpowered still at this point. The speed, potential damage, it's all a lot, and it's going to be extremely difficult to counter. So as we finish off the carrier here, I'm curious to hear from you all. What do you think of the new German carriers so far, and where they lie in comparison to the United States and Japanese carriers? I'm curious to hear everyone's perspective. Honestly, I think I probably need to go back, play the Japanese and Americans some more now to see how it stacks up. But I think the Germans have it by a long shot at this point. See, 2 more Citadel hits there. High caliber. I'm not sure I ever wanted to be in a game where a carrier was getting high caliber. That just seems way too powerful. But here we are, and now we just have to start dealing with it. I will say, if you're a cruiser, I think it's extremely easy to get out and plan against carriers. Using that rudder, using your throttle as much as possible to juke and turn, it's going to be extremely powerful. Not only, and the AA guns themselves are great, but honestly, I think just having the ability to maneuver quickly will be just as effective as a strong AA rating. As you'll see here, we're going to take top spot on the team, over 2,500 in XP, and honestly, this is it's going to be interesting to see where carriers go from here. Hopefully they don't get too much stronger, but we will see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If this is your first time coming to the channel, consider hitting subscribe. We'll have a lot more videos coming at you shortly. Have a great day.